to my video for the coming build of the Battlestar Galactica, the Revell kit. I didn't go out to buy the Revell kit, I just wanted to get the new Galactica, and the Mobius kit was not available. I found this on eBay, costed about 15 euros, probably around $20, $25, something like that. So you can still get these kits for pretty cheap. I just opened it up to look through the parts, and we're just going to go through the different pieces and look and see the different aspects of the model before we get started. So at the end of the movie I will create a link to the following work in progress videos. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed when I opened this kit, there are a lot of pieces, and they're actually quite well done. I mean, you've got here all the different pieces. So, and as you can see, I already took some of it apart and was working on it a little bit. But there are quite a few pieces. The first thing that I noticed, these things are very small. I've been working with the TOS Galactica for quite a while now, and it's a lot, yeah, there's a lot more room to do things. I mean, like if you look at these, the landing bays, I mean, this is just tiny, really, really small compared to the TOS version. So it's supposed to be the same scale as the old Revell Battlestar Galactica, 1 to 4105. Personally, I just kind of think that this is a higher scale. I mean, this is. I was just amazed how small this is. Okay, on the plus side, this thing is done very, very well from the molding. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you can see this on the video. This is one of the landing bays, and I'm just going to put these together. If I can get it here, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but the seam there is just awesome. I mean, you don't see seams like that with models too often, so that is done really, really good. I was quite amazed. There are some deficiencies in the model. There's the typical things like, for example, here the landing bays, the door here is a little bit off. Not too much of a problem there, but we're not going to go into that right now. So another thing that really impressed me, this is the center body, and you've got here, these are your, yeah, the recess where the bays can be retracted to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this with retracted bays. You don't really see a lot of those in the internet, but I just kind of wanted one with the bays retracted. And they kind of came up with a nice idea here. I don't know if you can see this. They've got like small notches here, and they fit into these here. So it's like you can kind of just like put them in there, and then it's got like a latching hooks here. So it's like you just kind of put them in where they're supposed to go, and then, oh, I do believe I have this on the wrong side. I'll try it on this side. Yeah, that looks much better. So, and then you just kind of close this, and these things here, they latch into one another, and they actually make a great fit. So it's like once you get these in here and you push them in tight, this holds very good. I mean, I was playing with it yesterday, and I mean, you have to really, you can really shake this thing, and it's not going to fly out. So that was a very nice thing that they thought up when they built this kit. There's a problem though, especially for me, because you see, these are the arms, and they are made to go in approximately like this. Okay, and if you're building it with arms out, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. But as I'm going to be building this in, there's going to have to be a little bit of work done. I'll have to cut these off just to make sure they're here. And that's kind of when I found out that when they built the kit, they kind of forgot something, or they made a mistake. So it's like, you've got your different arms here. Let me just go through these real quick. And they are, you have to use, each arm has its own spot, so you can't just put them in where you want to go. I mean, you've got these two where it's slightly small in the beginning and then gets bigger, and then you've got these two where it's almost flat. So these two are your two front arms, and this one will go right here like I showed before. And then if you put it in the close, oops, that's the wrong one, I'm sorry. So if you put this in where it's supposed to be, the first thing that you notice is that if I'm trying to line this up, first thing you notice is there's about maybe a half a centimeter here that's missing. So that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, you can probably just doctor this up and get that so it's working. But a bigger problem, if you see these ribs here, they don't match. Okay, see right here you've got one rib, and then exactly next to it is a rib on the arm, and then you've got your space again. And here there should be a rib and there's not, so you got a huge space here. So what they did when they designed this, I'm going to take this and put it on the other side. Here, if you can see this, the ribs match perfectly with the ribs here, but then your armor is all wrong. Okay, so the only way that you can really repair this is either to sand the ribs down and make new ribs, or you sand the armor plate down and you make a new armor plate. And I'm just kind of wondering, I'm just kind of playing right now with the idea. I'm not sure which one is going to be easier. I'm kind of thinking that I will use this armor plate as a template and make it in a sheet of styrene and just kind of sand that down and put the, which one is it here? And then just make a template of this and put that on here instead of sanding these down, because I'm just kind of thinking that that's going to be probably the easier way to make the arm look like it's supposed to. I'm just kind of scared if I take off these ribs, I'm not going to get it exactly uniform with all the others. It might be that one rib is just a micromillimeter off from the others, and that'll just kind of stand out like a sore thumb. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the armor plate and not the ribs. Yeah. So the next thing that we're going to do with this is, let me put this back in. The next problem that we have here is, you see, if you got your bay, let me see, this is the front. Oh, we got the wrong side here. Let me put this one in. Okay, so this is your bay, and this is the front. That's where the name Galactica or whatever goes. And so normally it's sitting out here like this, and then when it retracts, it's supposed to go up in here into this space. Now there's a couple videos out there. I believe Marco did his. He also mentioned that this was too long, and I believe what he did was he cut his bays. I believe this whole rib here he cut out and just shortened it by one rib space in the back, and I believe he also did in the front. He cut out a rib here somewhere. You can do that as well just to get the right length, but because I will be putting these landing bays will be retracted, there's another problem. I mean, you can see, let me just line this up. So if the arms are on it here, they should be lined up there. So you can kind of see right here, let me just, without this falling down, you can see right here that this is much too long. I mean, you're going to have to cut this pretty much out all in front here, and on the back, pretty much, the back fits better than the front. So this almost works. You might get away with just kind of sanding this down a little bit so there's a little more room. But that's one problem, and the other problem is this recess that it goes into is also, it's not high enough, or it's not wide enough for it to fit in. So even if you do shorten the bays or sand out the top, you still have a problem with the height. So what I'm going to end up doing is either, let me take this out, or I'll just use this one. So what I'm going to have to do is probably sand this whole area and try and get as much clearance there as I can on the bottom and the top. I might even end up having to cut this whole thing out and just kind of replace it with a plate of styrene that goes on top to make the top or the bottom layer. I'm going to have to find out what we can do there. because this is just too tight. There's really no clearance at there at all. I was playing with this the other night, and one thing I did notice, what you could do to help a little bit. I mean, right here, if you see it, you've got these holes where the latches go into, and right behind them there's also a space, and you could, theoretically, you could take this and just put it in the space back here, and it just barely is enough to get it into this locking mechanism that it has here. I mean, you still have this space right here that you would have to fit in, but you do get a little bit more space, and you wouldn't have to file away quite as much. So I'm going to have to see what works best with that. Okay, so, and you can see them, where did I put the other one? I mean, they do both fit in like that, so even if we have it in the back position. So that might help me out a little bit there. Okay, so, okay. The differences between the Revell kit and the Mobius kit is basically there's not a lot. I read up on this before I bought it because I kind of did want to buy. I wanted to buy a Mobius kit, but after reading, the reviews were that basically the two companies, they sat down together to make this kit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the kit itself is pretty much the same. Revell created their own directions, so the directions are typical for Revell. I mean, you have your black and white images that are quite internationally understandable. I mean, there's really not much you can do wrong here. I believe the Mobius kit is a little bit more detailed in the pictures and things like that. The other difference is the decal sheet. I haven't seen the Mobius one, but I believe you only have these red markings and your landing bays, and with the Revell kit you get this. This is a decal for the landing bay recess here, with I believe this is supposed to be the red lights that they have there. I'm going to light this anyway, so I don't really need this, and the bays are going to be, I mean the landing bays are going to be retracted anyway, so you won't see this anyway, so that's no biggie there. But just for those of you out there who are looking at either a Mobius or a Revell kit. Okay, well, that is the Battlestar Galactica, the new Battlestar Galactica in a nutshell. Yeah, I'm looking forward to start this kit. I mean, there's a lot of nice things, a lot of small detail that's going to go into this, and I'll be putting up some new updates on this as I go, and I'll add the links to this video for the next video in the series, just so that you don't have to look for it in the YouTube to spring to the next one. Okay, thank you very much for joining, and thanks for dropping by, and see you again. Bye.